dealership where they have an application where you can buy cars. We can put our loan-related functions into it. And then finally, the mass bank. This will be the most challenging one. The idea is that we connect to WeChat and then offering microloans to everyone. So in here, we actually have high frequency because we're actually targeting a lot of customers. In WeChat, there's millions of users that are using this application. So that's how we position ourselves. So this is one of our flagship products called Webank. So it's a consumer loan, a micro loan. So imagine that you needed some money, like maybe 10,000 won, but if you go to a bank and borrow, they're not going to say yes because it's too little. If you use a credit card, that should be fine, but can you actually get cash out from it? Or maybe some of them is a yes, right? But imagine that you're unemployed. You don't have a credit card because the bank cannot see your income proof. So how we do it is we use a lot of big data analytics, and then we can see that we actually know who you are. Even though that you don't have employment now, but it doesn't mean you don't have employment tomorrow or next month. Therefore, we actually offer this product to a lot of customers. So the main thing about this is you can use your, let's say, Kakao or WeChat, you can get instant money within 1 minute. So if I want to borrow some money, so the maximum money that you can borrow in this app is $300,000 RMB. So you can take this in less than 1 minute, and then it will go into your account. I would say that the technology has helped because you can also repay early. If you make a loan, and then you want to repay, you just want to borrow for 2 days and repay the third day, this is actually okay, so that you can only just pay the interest for 3 days. So technology is actually making this happen. But in traditional banks, there's a lot of manual work. They're not going to sell you this kind of products. This is our Webank app, so you can actually do like normal checking your accounts, doing transfer or doing some payments. And then we also have a mutual fund management tools that actually suggests based on your incomes or activities, what is the best way to do your wealth management, for example, how to really do better in investing. But the core of this Webank app is the eKYC. So because we are digital money, we don't have a branch. So for you to open an account, you just need to download the app and then scan your ID card and then just do a facial recognition, and then you can have the account created. So this is what we mean by banking anywhere. So you can create an account anywhere where you are, and also anytime because we're 24/7. So this is similar to microloans. So this is for the SME banking. So if you're a corporate, you want some money because of liquidity issue, meaning that you just need like 1 or 2 more days in order to receive your fund, so you can pay to your other suppliers, or you needed some extra money to pay for your employees. So this is this is really targeting for SME. So the maximum you can borrow is 3 million RMB. The interesting part is that this is pure online application. You don't need to submit any income proof or your tax or related, because we believe that for you to submit the documents, we don't know if it's true or not. You could modify it. For us to actually verify your content takes very long. So therefore, instead of asking you to provide it, because a lot of our systems are connected to the government as well, like the government tax bureau. So we can actually get all these informations instantly. And then, because we're all connected, and then we also have like AI-based risk analytics, so we know that how you will use the money. So therefore, the time for approving this is actually less than 1 minute. And then the money all the 3 million to your account, it takes less than 30 seconds. if you're a small, if you're a business, then this 1.5 minute is quite valuable. And then this will be the last one. So this will be the auto car loan. So we actually embed our banking capabilities onto our partners' platform. So because in China, a lot of times when you want to buy something, it's done online. So I can buy water online, I can buy alcohol online, I can buy clothes online, basically everything. Now that there's a way that you can buy a car online. So the way it works is, you download the app, and then you actually choose the car that you want, and then you see the price, then you think, I want this car. Within the next page, there will be a breakdown of a car loan, saying how much you need to repay. And then if you're okay with this, you click accept. This will actually do a approval check. This one will take about 60 minutes to do. And then after 60 minutes, you get your fund instantly, and then you can pay the dealer. Then you can drive the car. And then this is the eKYC that I mentioned. So we're using something called multispectral reflectance, which means that when you do their KYC, you actually pull up your phone. The phone will show up blue screen and then a red screen. So the idea is that based on the lights that's been emitted from the phone to your skin and then back to the camera, we can detect whether that person is really alive or not. There are other ways to do it. For example, there could be a screen that shows some number where you say 1, 2, 3, 4, and it records your lips movements to see whether you are actually alive. And then there are other ways that you can say, like nod your head or shake your head. That way that we can actually have some interaction to prove who you are. So the entire process takes about 4 seconds just to make sure that you are who you are. In Webank, we think that technology is quite crucial. So there's actually 4 categories which we believe are the main categories. Artificial intelligence, like the eKYC I mentioned. We also have a chatbot, where whenever you do customer service, when you have an issue with your banking, you actually call up the call center. But there's most of the times that it will say, our representative is busy at the moment, because there's so many people in the world, but there's only so little that is actually sitting in the call center. But with artificial intelligence, we can actually pick up the call with the robots and then hear what you're saying and then convert that into text so that they can do analytics and then even respond back to you. For blockchain, so Webank invested a lot of money on the blockchain as well, which I'll explain in the later slides. Cloud computing. So in order for us to serve that many billions of users, we're actually leveraging the cloud, and then we have our own distributed architecture, which is quite unique in terms of how you structure your application. So that will be a very Webank specific. And big data is how we actually do analytics, especially on your credit rating. When you want to borrow money, you don't need to submit the data. You don't need to submit your address proof. We actually do a lot of big data analysis on this part. So in terms of our direction in blockchain, we think of it as very critical to our business. So back in maybe 20 years ago, when we start doing digitalization, think about our CDs, our cassette, right? We changed audio to MP3 to WAV. That was 20 years ago, almost, or even 30 years ago. And then to photos, right? From instead of using a film camera, we actually use digital camera nowadays. We can actually take a photo, even with our phone, and that becomes digitalized. But there's one thing that still haven't been digitalized perfectly, which is money. If we could do that technology, imagine that you go to an ATM machine. Instead of getting cash out, you can put in an SD card or a USB, plug it in, and then withdraw $1,000, $10,000, and then take that USB out or SD card out, and then use it as money. But this technology, it's not hard, but it's not been matured. The main reason is because of the spending problem. There's no way that we can prevent you from copy and paste or duplicate the money because it's just a file. So blockchain is trying to solve this problem by introducing blockchain, where there's a lot of cryptography and also consensus has been made just to make sure that the money that you're using has been spent. So when blockchain started, the main focus is Bitcoin. But if you look at what blockchain can provide anonymous, which means that whenever you do a transaction, you don't need to say, I am Eric, I am doing this transaction. Because everything is public. Everyone can see the transaction. I don't want people to know that I'm buying something or I have this much money. But because blockchain is public, everyone can see it. Therefore, being anonymous is quite important. Another part is the tamper-proof, which means that when something happens, nobody can modify it. If I spend $100, I cannot erase it and say I spent $50. And then it's decentralized, meaning that nobody has control over the whole blockchain. Everyone is actually working together to maintain all the transactions in the world. And then more importantly, right, is the cryptocurrency that has been the main focus. If Bitcoin did not go up that much, right now I think it's probably 10 or a few thousand, I can't exactly remember. But if the blockchain price didn't go up that high, nobody would care about blockchain. Everyone would be focusing on stock market and not cryptocurrency. But because everyone got excited on Bitcoin, therefore the market has been a lot of things about Bitcoin. But there's one type of people that thinks about the money, the value, the investment, they look at Bitcoin. There's also another part that thinks that we shouldn't be looking Bitcoin or blockchain purely from an investment point of view. We should be looking at how we can bring values. And then there's some, I would say, smart people actually think that you can actually run code onto the blockchain. You can actually do something more than just doing payments using blockchain. So Ethereum came and then it introduced virtual machines and then smart contracts. And then based on these two, first of all, virtual machine really means that it's running in a sandbox environment that it cannot touch your resources, because blockchain is about mining. But if you put your mining that can run malicious code, how can we make sure that it's not touching your data? So the virtual machine is actually making this happen. Smart contract will be a way for people to start coding. So with these two together, it actually created distributed applications where people can do more things on blockchain than just doing pure payments. But the way I see it now is that we're beyond the time that we treat blockchain purely as an investment. We're beyond the time that blockchain itself can do distributed application. What we'd be looking now is the application that leverage blockchain as the infrastructure. So if you take an example of charity, a lot of times when we donate money, let's say 10,000 won to a company, where does this money go? We can use another application to donate, but once you hit into that application's internal process, who can see it? No one can see it. No one knows what happens after. Within the $10,000, maybe 99% of that money is being used for their employee salary. No one knows. So blockchain is actually could make this more transparent. So imagine that there's a charity that does third world child support. You go into the application, you can put in $10,000, and then you can submit it. But since that they're using blockchain, you can actually see how that $10,000 gets routed, get used to the third-party world, and go directly to that child, how the money is being used. The most important thing of this is that because we know that blockchain data are tamper-proof, which means nobody can modify the data. What you see is what it is. So that's very important. The next, I would say, food safety. So when you go to a restaurant and eat, how do you know this food is coming from the place that they say it is, right? If you go to a steakhouse and then have a beef, and then they say that the beef is from Australia, how can you tell? There's no way you can tell. Can blockchain help this? Maybe it can help, but the thinking is that we should be thinking, we use blockchain as the infrastructure and start thinking the applications around the blockchain. And that's how we can progress with it. So when I say blockchain as the infrastructure, it's like a railway where we actually connect different companies together. You might be asking why we can't do this now. A lot of companies are connected today, but there's a lot of problems exactly the data itself. When a company is actually looking to another company, they exchange data. But whose data is correct? There might be someone in company A that modified the data, and company B didn't modify the data. And then if there's some discrepancy, if A data does not match B data, this will cause a lawsuit. And then this will continue until someone either the judge actually says company A is correct, company B is correct, or they just do it offline saying, oh, let's just agree on this one. So with blockchain, because data are tamper-proof, so it makes company actually easier to work with each other. I would say that the blockchain is like a trusted network in an untrusted environment. Because we don't trust each other in an environment, therefore let's try to build something where we agree and we trust it. So in Webank, we're actually a member